Hello world and welcome back to Goochies BBQ. My name's Ian and on today's episode we'll be cooking ribs. So we'll start today's cook with a couple of baby back ribs. I picked these up from my local butchers. Butchers is a great place to go rather than the supermarkets. You'll find that the quality of meat is so much more superior than the likes of Tesco's and Asda. You may pay a little bit more than you would in the local supermarkets, but it's so much better. It's better to pay for quality rather than quantity. So we'll get these out of the packaging, we'll take a look at them, we'll clean them up and we'll get some seasoning on. So once you've removed them from the packaging, what we're going to do is take a look at these ribs. We're going to remove the membrane off the back and we're going to get them seasoned up. We've got two ribs here, we've got a brace of ribs, so we're going to go with two different types of seasoning. The first one will be, when I can find it, will be Goochies BBQ seasoning, and the ingredients to my seasoning will be in the description below. And the next rib we're going to do, or the next rack of ribs we're going to season up, is with Stubbs. This was given to me as a present from my friend's mum's back from Texas. It smells absolutely fantastic. So we're going to do one flavour profile which is quite sweet using Goochies BBQ rub, and the next one, this is quite peppery. Has sea salt, paprika and garlic powder. It does smell quite peppery in there, so we're going to do one with a pepper profile, salt and pepper profile as well. Once we've got them seasoned up, we'll get some smoke on, then we're going to glaze them, and we're going to use two types of glaze, both from Bullseye. Absolutely in love with this sweet whiskey glaze. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm putting this on absolutely everything. So one rib's going to have this glaze, and we're going to use the Bullseye Applewood smoke glaze, both in the local supermarkets, and recommend you try both of these glazes. So let's get started. So first what we need to do is to dry the moisture off the meat. So just take a little bit of paper towel and just pat the ribs dry. Remove any of the moisture which came out of the packaging, and remember to do, you know, both sides of that. And then what we're going to do is remove this membrane. You can see on the back of the rib you have a membrane on the back there. What we're going to do is get a knife underneath there, get a paper towel, and we'll actually remove that. It doesn't cook out particularly well, and it gets a bit chewy when you're trying to eat it, so we'll get that removed. There's also a flappy bit of meat on there we'll also remove. So I'll take my knife, we'll just slice this flappy bit off. Anything flappy which you leave onto your meat will just end up burning, so you might as well take them off. Same as the edge there. Just run your knife down. There's a bit of cartilage on there. Okay, then we'll need to remove the membrane, and what you need to do really is, if you can just run your knife underneath there and get your finger underneath there, then just take a little bit of paper towel and hopefully, if we're lucky, the whole thing should just come off as one. Just like so. Just place your knife underneath, between the membrane and the meat and the bone. You get your finger underneath there. Get some paper towel and just pull. The whole thing should just come off as one. It also helps remove the barrier, so you'll be able to get the season on there. If you left it on there with just the membrane on, the seasoning wouldn't be able to stick, it wouldn't be able to penetrate the meat, especially on the backside. So this is how we kind of like them. They've all been cleaned up, we've removed the membrane, and now it's time to apply some seasoning. Before we do that, we're going to use some yellow mustard just to add a binder. It just tacks up the ribs, so when you put the seasoning on, it will just help the seasoning stick better. So we'll put some on to the backside here. And just rub it in gently. Always do your backside first and leave your presentation side last. Once we applied the mustard, then we'll start to apply the rub. So for the, oh, for God's sake, these damn gloves. Right, here we go, a successful glove. Right, so what the hell am I doing? Right, so we're gonna do Goochies BBQ rub first. Give it quite a heavy coating. I like to actually, you know, put lots and lots of rub on it. And just pat it in as you're putting it in there. Oh man, this rub smells lovely. Highly recommend you look in the description below and make this rub. It's so good. And it's so simple and cheap. So now the backside's done, what we will do, we'll apply some mustard to the top side, just a little bit, rub it in. You don't really get any flavour from the mustard itself once it's cooked on. It just acts as a binder, just helps the rub stick. So when you're cooking it, the rub doesn't fall off. I'm making a right mess of this. So to me, this is a perfectly seasoned rib using Goochies BBQ rub. Now we use the Stubbs rub. So now the ribs are all seasoned up just how I like it, and I've cleaned up the work area. The work area was in a right mess. I really am a messy cooker. I need like a container to be able to put all the stuff in, so I can apply the rub without just making a complete mess. So now it's all tidied up, it's time to get these into the smoker. So today we're going to be using the offset smoker. We're going to be running around about 275, 300 degrees Fahrenheit. The Celsius conversions up there. I know I'm English and I should be using Celsius in my video, but because I've learned so much stuff from YouTube, all the American channels are used Fahrenheit, so it's just kind of ingrained into my brain. But we will put the conversions up there when we do the video. So let's light the smoker. We just fired up the chimney to get the coals nice and hot. We dumped in half a bag or so of briquette charcoal. We've also put a couple of tumbleweeds on there, and we just lit it up. It's going to take about 10-15 minutes before those coals are nice and hot. Highly recommend getting a chimney to light your charcoal. It just makes life so much easier. You can put your charcoal in, your briquettes in, or your lump charcoal. Hit a couple of tumbleweeds under there. Let me show you what these look like. A couple of these tumbleweeds under there, but yeah, use these. These are really easy to use, and chuck a couple underneath there and your coals will be lit within 20 minutes or so. For the wood today, so what we're using is our charcoal to give us our base BTUs, so our heat for the barbecue, and then we're going to use some offcuts of oak and also some offcuts of hickory wood. So we'll use our charcoal as a base for the heat. We'll be running around about 275, 280 or up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius conversions up there. And then we'll be using these to generate some heat. When you've got the temperature up on your smoker, preheat your wood first. So basically what I do is either just chuck them on top of your firebox or on top of your barbecue. Make sure your wood is nice and hot before you chuck them on the coals. Otherwise they'll just sit there and smoulder and give you a very dirty smoke. If you get these preheated, you'll chuck them on and they'll just burst instantly into flames, and then you'll be running a nice clean wood, which give you a nice clean smoke. So now the smoker's up to temperature. We're running around about 275 degrees. We just throttled back our vents. We'll keep the intake vent wide open to get as much oxygen into the fire to help those logs, those woods, that hickory and that oak, stay on fire and don't smoulder. But we'll just control the temperature with the outlet vent. And then let's place on the ribs. I've got to remember which one's which. This one's Stubbs, this one's Goochies BBQ. What we're going to do, we'll leave them into the smoke for around about an hour, and we'll come back and check on them. What we're looking for is for the rub to stick. So when we touch it, we don't want the rub to come off. We want it to set onto the meat. At that point, what we'll do, we'll probably spray it with some apple cider vinegar and some Worcestershire sauce to make sure the ribs don't dry out. It's going to take approximately about 2 hours on the smoker itself. to get enough smoke onto the ribs. And then what we'll do, we'll wrap them in tin foil, a little bit of butter, a little bit of glaze, maybe some honey, and then we'll put them back on there to tenderize. So let's check back in an hour. So the ribs have been on the smoker for about an hour and a bit. So let's take a look, shall we? You can see they've just started to dry out slightly. So what we'll do, we'll give them a spritz with some apple cider vinegar and some Worcestershire sauce. This will stop the ribs from drying out and actually build up another layer of flavour. You can see the bark is, or the rub is setting nicely. We can't rub it off, so these are quite small ribs, so they're not going to take too long to cook. So I'll probably give them maybe another hour or so. We'll check them every 20-30 minutes and give them another spritz just to make sure they don't dry out. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So the ribs have been on the smoker now for about 2.5 hours, and they're exactly how I like them. We've been running the smoker around about 250, 275. We've got good bark on the ribs. The rub is nice and set. Now it's time to get those tender. So let's take one off the smoker and see what it looks like. Oh, these are absolutely screaming hot. And how I like to get them tender is that I'll put a couple of pieces of butter down on the foil. For this cook, I'm going to use chilies. I haven't used chilies on here, but I cooked up some sausages, some hot link sausages yesterday. Had some chilies, some barbecue sauce in there, and they're absolutely fantastic. So for a little bit of heat, I'm going to put some chilies in with some butter. This was the Goochies BBQ, which I said, I think, I was going to use the Applewood, so we'll put a layer of Applewood sauce on there. And then what we'll do, we'll place it meat side down onto the sauce, onto the butter, onto those chilies. We'll place a little bit more sauce at the top. And then we'll wrap them tight. So you need to ensure that you wrap these really, really tight. What you don't want to do is to steam them, because the steam will release some of the bark and it'll wash some of that away. We'll use a double layer of tin foil as well, in case any of the ends poke through, which they have done on here. Wrap them nice and tight. And then we'll get the other rack out. And it'll be exactly the same process for the other set of ribs, but we'll be using the different sauce. So we've got some butters down, we've got some slabs of butter down, we've got some chilies on there. Might as well chuck all of these chilies on there. This could be a hot one, but it's all good. We'll put a layer of the sweet whiskey rub. Sweet whiskey's glaze sauce, sorry. And we'll put the other rib on top of that and get that wrapped. Now we'll put these back on the smoker. We'll give them another 30, 40 minutes and then we'll check. We're not going to add any more wood because obviously you've got the tin foil, but we will probably add a couple more coals. You want to maintain your smoke around about 250, 275 degrees. And we'll check back in 20 or 30 minutes. So the ribs have been on the smoker now for about 30 or 40 minutes now, wrapped in tin foil with that butter, with that barbecue sauce and with those chilies, and they're just about tender to come off. But before we take them off, what I want to do is just open the tin foil up, turn them over and just let the top tack up a bit, otherwise they become a little bit too saucy. So let's do that now. They're smelling absolutely fantastic. And just look at these. So soft. So I tend to go for around 200 degrees Fahrenheit-ish, but it's really the probing which I'm after. And as you can see, this is just going through like butter. So what I'll do, I'll grab my tea towel, because these are going to be quite soft and blooming up. And what we'll do, we'll just pick these up and just flip them around. And these are going to be falling off the bone. They look absolutely fantastic. Let's put these on here. And we'll do the same with the other rack. This one feels slightly more tighter, but maybe not. But yeah, these are going to be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And let's just flip these over. Hot, hot, hot. Oh my God, they are hot. We've got those good chilies in there. All that lovely sauce. What I am going to do also is actually just touch up the rub. Where the rub has slightly come off over the time now. Which one was which? This one was Goochies BBQ rub. Or was it this one? Let's go with this one. It's not going to hurt. So just touch us up slightly. I think this was the one. And the rub would also, you know, just tack on. Those sugars will melt, they'll caramelise. Let's find the other one. And again, let's just touch the rub up on here. And you know they're going to look fantastic. So we'll leave these for another 5 minutes just to tack up, and we'll be ready to serve. So after about 4.5 hours, our ribs are finally done, and they're looking and smelling absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to dig in. But before I do, let's just recap on what I did. So we started with 2 racks of baby back ribs. We removed them from the packaging, we patted them dry, and we seasoned them independently. One was with the Stubbs barbecue rub, which a friend of mine brought back from Texas, and this smells absolutely fantastic. And the other one was with our sweet barbecue rub. So we seasoned them both up, both sides, with a binder of some yellow mustard. We place them on the smoker for about an hour or so, running the smoker around about 250 to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius will be at the top there. From there, we spritzed. We noticed the ribs were getting a little bit dry, and to help combat the dryness, we spritzed with some apple cider vinegar and Worcestershire sauce, probably every 30 or 40 minutes. Once the ribs were starting to get a little bit tender, we had a little bit of pull back on the bones. We then wrapped them to tenderize them. We done that, we put them into butter. One rib used sweet whiskey glaze, bullseye sweet whiskey glaze, and the other one uses bullseye Applewood smoked barbecue sauce. Both of these are fantastic, and this, I'm really, really loving it. You need to get this. Bullseye are not sponsoring me, but if you do, then yes, please do. So let's dig in. Oh, these are looking super tender. We'll slice this one down. Let's see if we can cut through here. Oh, let's move these out of the way. And we'll try one of each. I can't remember which one's which. Let's cut this here and here. And let's just move these out of the way and just give these a try. Oh wow, they do look absolutely fantastic. Oh my, these may be the best ribs I've ever made. I don't know which one this is. The chili on the top just makes all the difference. Highly recommend you pack this up with chili. It's not that spicy, but you just feel it on there. And I'm making an absolute mess. Oh man, that's incredible. So let's just try the other one. You can see, look, they're just falling off the bone. Absolutely amazing. Lost for words. I think this is the apple cider one. I can't really taste the whiskey. It's a bit weird. But maybe I muddled them up. These are just absolutely great. So how I like to serve ribs is, you know, I've got a rack of rib. What I like to do is put a load of fries on top of there as well. God man, there's some rib meat on there. I'm going to munch on there in a minute. We've got some sweet corn. I love a dollop of coleslaw as well. And to me, let me move this out of the way. And to me, this is a perfect rib dinner. We've got the curly fries, we've got the sweet corn, we've got the coleslaw, we've got our smoked baby back ribs covered in that lovely spice, those lovely glazes. Absolutely fantastic. We hope you enjoyed watching our video today. If you like more, then please like and subscribe. It really does help support our channel. Thank you.